Namaste. My name is Sudhakar and I am associated with the Center for Educational and Social Studies based in Bangalore. At the Center for Educational and Social Studies in Bangalore, we have established a small group which is dedicated to bringing more Indian content to Indian management schools. In the next 30 minutes, I will try to give you a short introduction to this body of knowledge called Bharatiya Management. Let us start by looking at some background. India was the greatest contributor of wealth to the Roman Empire and later to the English and Mughal invaders. Much of the wealth of the Roman and British came from India. Indian textiles, medicines, and Southeast Asian spices sold to Northern Europe created a lot of wealth. We have a long history few other civilizations can boast of. By first millennia CE, which is about 2000 years ago, India had about one third, or as per some estimates, one half of the total world GDP. We have had many thousands of years of economic activity and experience. Only in the last 200 or 300 years, India has lost its importance in the world, which it held for thousands of years. We have read that Vasco da Gama discovered India, whereas his ship was actually escorted from South Africa by ships belonging to an Indian international trader. This is not something most of us know. Another important aspect of Indian business we do not see is the contribution of the unorganized sector in India. The unorganized sector contributes to 90% of employment and 50% of GDP. And we don't think we can learn from this sector in terms of case studies or best practices because our focus in management education is on the corporates and among them the multinational corporations. Those who have seen the video of Captain Raghuraman about India Unink, based on the seminal work of Professor Vaidyanathan of IIM Bangalore, will understand what I am referring to. We have a huge reservoir of knowledge, case studies, best practices generated over thousands of years. The premise of my talk on Bharatiya management is simply that with such a glorious past, many uniquely Indian management practices, and in some ways a unique business environment in India, there is a need for management students to invest in knowing about Bharatiya management in addition to understanding management from a Western framework. I think it's a good idea to consider these two words, Bharatiya and management, in the context of understanding Bharatiya management. Let us first explore the two words. Since I have used the expression management, let us stick to the popular definition of getting things done or having functional areas like planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. We should not limit ourselves to business management, however, as even homes need to be managed. Management is a broader concept of effectiveness and efficiency that can be applied everywhere. I have used the expression Bharatiya in its broadest sense. I am referring to the geographic area and the history, culture, practices, and everything that is emanating from this place called Bharat or the Indian subcontinent. So, what is Bharatiya management? Based on my discussion with a few senior professors and looking at literature on how indigenous management knowledge has been constructed, we can think of Bharatiya management to include at least the following three components. One, management concepts, ideas, constructs based on India's ancient wisdom. Two, management concepts, practices, case studies which are very uniquely Indian. And three, research methodology which is quite Indian. Now let us explore each one of these to gain a better understanding of what actually constitutes Bharatiya management. So management concepts, ideas, constructs based on India's ancient wisdom. When you search in any journal database or look at courses offered by management schools, you'll find a large number of professors have management courses based on the four Vedas, Upanishads, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Arthashastra by Chanakya or Kautilya, Panchatantra. Works of Shankara and Tirukural have also been used. Recent leaders like Mahatma Gandhi and Vivekananda have contributed through their writings. There is a huge amount of relevant material available right from Vedas to Vivekananda. Ancient Indians have great proven management expertise. We can find proof of that expertise in our history, in our monuments, and our ancient cities. Managing water resources, managing kingdoms, managing temples, macroeconomics, international trade, and also knowledge management are all areas India has great experience of thousands of years. For example, this article by Professor Vijay Govindarajan about what he calls the three-box solution is actually a simple example of the different perceptions about strategic management. In the West, we have a mission and goals. Then we work towards achieving them. The Indian view is more cyclical. In this article, for example, he is using Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva to explain how innovation and strategy is a continuous process of creation, maintenance, and destructions. This is also very similar to what Joseph Schumpeter calls creative destruction. In fact, there is also a point of view among some management professors that Schumpeter got his idea of creative destructions from ancient Indian texts. Let us look at another example. What can we learn about leadership from Ramayana? The leadership lessons from Ram include thinking about others, behaving well and with humility, treating everyone as equal, a clear vision, choosing and working with allies, emotional intelligence. Many of these leadership qualities are relevant even today. So ancient Indian text is a storehouse of lots of management wisdom, and many professors are already culling out this from ancient Indian texts. Let's look at the component of Bharatiya management. This is more contemporary. Management concepts, practices, case studies, which are unique to India. You won't find them anywhere else. For example, look at the case study of Arvind Eye Hospital. It's a well-known case study. One interesting aspect of the Arvind model is that the doctor's cabin has two doors. One beyond which the well-to-do and paying patients are seated, and the other door beyond which poor patients are seated. It is a case about service planning, pricing, economies of scale, and it's something very uniquely Indian. Let's look at another example of uniquely Indian. In the year 1999-2000, Nirma started selling more than Hindustan Lever Surf. C.K. Prahlad's famous book and concept of fortune at the bottom of the pyramid was first discussed in his article in 2002. He urged multinationals to look at the bottom of pyramid markets. He even wrote about the Nirma case in his famous article on bottom of the pyramid markets. In my understanding, he got the idea from Karsanbhai Patel, though the term bottom of the pyramid was first used many decades earlier in 1932 by US President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The flawless management of Kumbh Mela is another interesting case study. And so is one about how Madhubani art has been saved without any IP protection, all uniquely Indian. The concept of Jugaad or frugal innovation is another prominent aspect in India, and Indian management students should definitely know more about this. There are many unique aspects of different communities and their way of doing business. The Marwari Partha system of accounting, the Chettiar banking system, where people got mortgage loans in less than 1 hour, or the Parsi credo of Neki na paisa are some quick examples of how successful business is done in India. Neki na paisa simply means happy money or good money, which is earned by giving good value in exchange, being ethical, and not cheating with poor quality. I had mentioned earlier about the unorganized sector, and there is a wealth of uniquely Indian practices in that segment. However, this is also an area where there is a great opportunity for research, as many of the cases and concepts are not documented as yet. Another important component of Bharatiya management, apart from ancient wisdom and unique business practices, is the Indian way of doing research. While the Western method is aimed at proving to the world using empirical data the universality of results, Indian research is mainly aimed at proving to oneself by direct experience or by empirical data. The Indian method recognizes that your truths may be different from my truths. For example, recently during the pandemic, many experienced for themselves the benefits of yoga and pranayama. This is different from reading a study about yoga and pranayama. Nyaya includes information perceived by our sense organs and is empirical. Indian methodology uses both empirical evidence and direct experience. At this stage, we must also discuss what objective and subjective are at a very basic level to understand how Bharatiya management is fundamentally different from Western way of looking at management. Objective is based on hard facts that can be verified by anyone and something that is repeatable. Subjective, on the other hand, is about feelings, emotions, opinions, and inside of us. How many flavors do you get in a Baskin Robbins outlet? That is an objective measure. Now, if I were to ask you which flavor is the best, the answer will be different for different people and based on their personal taste and experience. Western management generally focuses on objective goals like vision, mission. For example, when I have to lose weight, I have a goal that I must lose 20 kgs in 6 months and be able to fit into my pair of jeans. This is an objective goal. I can also say, looking at it slightly differently, that my goal is to walk 5 kilometers every day for the next 30 days, skip my dinner and start having coffee without milk or sugar. Which kind of goal will give you sustainable results? Which has a greater chance? Objective goals are quantified, but not so much in our control. The subjective goals might not be easy to quantify, but they are very much in our control. So when Krishna says don't bother about results, he doesn't mean don't do anything. We need to focus on the present and do what we can, and the results will come automatically. This can take a few days to explain, and I am myself a novice in this domain. So let's just move on. When we are discussing Bharatiya management, we cannot restrict our discussion to the syllabus of content to be understood. Curriculum is the broader term and is the framework for an entire program. Bharatiya management calls for a different pedagogy which we need to borrow from the Gurukula system. For example, till recently I believed that rote learning was a terrible thing. However, when I found out about the role of chanting and how we need to have a complete control over the basic text to be able to discuss it from our own perspective or debate about it, I understood the value of chanting. When we are exploring our own mind, dhyana or meditation is a critical component. There is actually no learning without reflection or thinking about what we are learning. So, is Bharatiya management something new? When you do some secondary research, you will find that many books have been written in this domain, like Vivekananda and Leadership, Tirukural and Management Lessons from Bhagavad Gita, and so on. Many professors have written a large number of journal articles in this area and developed case studies that are very unique to India. By coining this term, Bharatiya management, an umbrella term is being created so that management students and teachers can learn from material that is closer home. Another aspect is that many Indian authors are finding it difficult to publish in Western journals as the articles are not written in a format that is expected. You will also find by a cursory search on the internet that many professors, including at IIMs and many foreign universities, offer elective courses from different components of Bharatiya management. We must also add a bit of caution while we are discussing Bharatiya management. We need to be careful about certain aspects. The interpretation of ancient texts is a matter of lot of debate, so it is important to look at a few interpretations before deciding. We must choose really reliable and reviewed sources. Today, topics like Mahabharata and management, Viduraniti and management are quite popular, and we have different people with different interpretations. Different interpretations are perfectly fine. The problem is that some of these are really poor quality and might even change the meaning of a shloka for sounding good. The other danger is what is called nostalgic research. Many times we get so enthusiastic that we start claiming that everything in the management originated in India or make such other jingoistic claims. This is dangerous as it will lead to the loss of credibility of Bharatiya management. Plastic surgery in India was of the highest quality much before anywhere else in the world. This is proven and we can be proud of it. Flying machines, on the other hand, is quite another story. We should not become blinded in our love for ancient India, even though everlasting knowledge is more important than current trends. For professors, there are no structured textbooks in this area. So, right from framing a syllabus and getting the materials to teach any course in the area of Bharatiya management is a tough job now. This is being changed, and this change will happen sooner than later. We must also remember that Bharatiya management is not a substitute for Western management thought, just another and different way of looking at things. It is complementary to what we already learn in management schools and will be a good addition to the curriculum. In essence, Bharatiya management is aimed at creating good managers who are ethical, find out for themselves, and use a storehouse of practices that are most suitable for Indian environment. I just repeat that. Basically, or in essence, Bharatiya management is aimed at creating good managers who are ethical, find out for themselves, and use a storehouse of practices that are most suitable for the Indian environment. We at the Center for Educational and Social Studies have put together a portal where all resources connected with Bharatiya management are available at one place. This is a new and free repository and also a community platform. Do explore this repository and add relevant material to help it grow. Kindly share your work in this area and suggest experts in this domain so that this body of knowledge can be enriched and well curated. Thank you very much for listening in. Namaste.